Hi internet people. So this shirt references a very queer vampire story. So this Silas University shirt is inspired by Carmilla the web series, which was inspired by Carmilla the novella by Sheridan Le Fanu, and there's also a movie. But I got this shirt ages ago when my wife and I were in Vegas at a thing called Klexicon. At the time, did we get these when we were engaged? I don't remember if we got these when we were engaged or if we got them before that. But we got them in Vegas at Klexicon. We also got engaged in Vegas, fun fact. But I'm wearing this shirt because a previous video I did was called V is for Valentines and Vampires, and in that I reread Carmilla, I read An Education in Malice, and I also read a book called Youngblood. And in Youngblood, the characters mention marathoning the Twilight movies, and I had already been thinking about doing this. I just hadn't done it yet, and that seemed like the perfect reason to do it. So I am going to be reading the 4 key, I'm not reading any of the extra books, Twilight books for pretty much the first time. Okay, so I have not read this entire series. A million years ago. I'm not really sure the actual amount of years. When did Twilight come out? And then maybe I will know. Okay, this is 2005. It's probably around when I read it. Might have, yeah, if that's when it came out, that would make sense. Sorry, we're gonna double check. Original publication, text copyright. Okay, it does say the text copyright is 2005. Okay, we're going with that because I didn't Google it. So it does say 2005. So back in the day when this came out, I read the first book at like age 14. I would have been the key demographic for this book. I already liked vampires. I even had it suggested to me by a librarian because she was like, oh, you read a lot of vampire stuff. I think you'd really like this. So I read the first one and I was like, I'm good. And I just didn't read any more of them. Now, I'm going to point out to you that at the age of 14, I was already reading the Sookie Stackhouse series, which many of you would know as the True Blood books, which I was not the core demographic for. Probably shouldn't have been reading those. I would buy them, like the paperback copies, for super cheap at, was it Borders Books? It wasn't Walden's Books, was it? I don't know. We had a bookstore in our mall, which at the time was a chain bookstore, but like disappeared for a very long time. And is one of the ones that went out of business. It's not even like something I could look up anymore because I don't remember. But they would sell the paperback copies of the Sookie Stackhouse books for like 2 for $6 or something. And they were brand new paperbacks. So I'd buy them and I'd read them. And then I would get the newer ones through my library. So it's already reading those. And I'm very sure I had already started reading the Anne Rice books. And at some point I was reading the Saint Germain series, though I did not finish that. Those books are thick. Though I really like them. But because I was already reading books that were far more mature for my age, I just was not that invested in teen angst. I was reading adult angst. Not that I knew what any of this angst was. I was 14. Yeah, I was reading those and I just didn't want to read any more about vampires who sparkled, which sounds real mean and I'm really sorry. I just couldn't get, like, I just was not invested in the series, but I do want to know what happened in these because I never read past book 1. I had never seen any of the movies until my wife, while we were dating, was like, you've never seen a Twilight movie? And I was like, no. So we watched the first one, but I was not paying attention to it. Like, if I remember correctly, I was working out while we were watching it. Like, I was like doing push-ups and stuff while she was hanging out. Yeah, I don't even remember the movie. I remember it being in a very odd color palette, and I know Kristen Stewart is in it. So, I mean, that's a plus. Though Kristen Stewart is playing the exceptionally straight Bella Swan. So, I feel like I frequently post very queer or primarily queer topicked videos. So this is going to seem very, very straight in comparison. I'm going to read the 4 core Twilight books. I'm not reading the 10th anniversary Edward thing. I think there's an additional book. I'm not doing that. I'm just reading the 4. That's all I'm doing, just the 4. And then after each book, I am going to watch the movie with my wife because we own all of them. Also, I think they're on streaming somewhere. But that is the plan. I am also, because I know this series is exceptionally straight, though I made it through Vampire Diaries, and that was a fun time, and all of that is pretty straight. There are queer characters that show up, that not till like very late seasons, and there are gay characters in originals and legacies. It's really just the original series, which kind of makes sense based on when it began coming out. But anyway, so I thought, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna read them. I will also probably be watching Kristen Stewart movies where she is less straight appearing, even if the character is technically straight. I've already pointed out that I would like to watch the Charlie's Angels remake because I think that movie is fun. So that's on the list to get me through very straight YA. I love a queer YA. I vaguely think I remember a tiny bit of the first book, but that's the only one I will have any knowledge of. And I wanted to film this before I started because I just thought I would explain. I know very little. I know in the first movie, Taylor Lautner wears a wig. I know that in the book, do I know anything about the book? I don't even know if I remember enough about the book. I know they play baseball. And every undead being sparkles. And that's all I've got for you. So this will be a fun surprise. I also blame the fact that Twilight must be having an anniversary of some kind because it has been all over my Instagram, like shirts from Hot Topic, ColourPop making a whole collection. So I mean, I blame social media for all of this. So I'm gonna read them. I will keep you apprised because I'm going to physically read all of them. I'm not getting the audiobooks for these. I'm sure I could find them, but I'm just gonna read them. These are my wife's copies, not coffees. I would like a coffee. I will probably drink a lot of coffee while I read these. But yeah, so I'll be reading all 4 core Twilight books. And I'm sorry if I say anything mean in this video. I don't mean to. I am a little bit of a vampire snob sometimes, so I apologize in advance. If you love this series and I say anything mean about it, I'm very sorry. I'm not trying to offend you. I've just never read them. I'm curious to see how it goes. I may go into queer book withdrawal. We'll see if I need to suddenly throw in an audiobook that is not these, but is queer to get me through. We'll find out. I also did not know I did not come out as bisexual until I was 26. So I'm now not 26. You can guess how old I am if you want. You can probably figure it out. But I didn't come out until I was 26. So at the time these books were out, I did not even know I identified as bisexual or queer. So maybe I will find a way to queer these in my mind. Who knows? We'll find out. I'm looking forward to this fun adventure that I'm about to take you on. And we'll see if I go into queer content withdrawal. But yeah, I hope you enjoy. We'll see how this goes. I normally film these at the end of the challenge / reading plan, but this is at the beginning. So we're all in for a huge adventure in this very queer woman reads Twilight for the first time, technically. I did read the first one, I don't remember it at all, so we're calling it for the first time. There you go. That's what I'm going with. Twilight series? Reads Twilight series for the first time. There you go. See, that works. Anyway, I need to start reading. So get ready, everyone! Sparkly vampires are coming, and Catherine probably making funny faces at her camera is also going to happen. I have a sneaking suspicion. So I hope you enjoy this probably chaotic video. Alrighty, let's get into the Twilight books. Hope you enjoy, internet people. Hello, you are balanced in my wine glass cabinet, but I have a reading update while I'm also wearing this like very, I feel like this is very Hot Topic goth style on the top. I have a lot of eyeliner on from something else I was doing today. And my Jack Skellington / Night Before Christmas hoodie, but hold on, I have the book. So, I am to the point where Edward has glittered in the sunlight, which is officially, I'm now in chapter 14. So, I did remember a reason that I didn't super like the first book. I'm trying not to hold it against her, but I do not like the writing for Bella. Like, why? I know it's a trope, but still, it's like, she's super klutzy, and she gets more klutzy when she's nervous, and she's also waifishly thin, and hates that she's waifishly thin but not athletic, and okay. some of the writing for Bella, I don't like the, she's super quirky because she's klutzy. I am also klutzy. My one leg is covered in bruises because I bumped into a table. But I feel like if I was being written in a book, it would not say, Catherine is continuously klutzy and gets klutzier when she's nervous. No, it wouldn't say that. Like, it wouldn't be my charming characteristic. It would be like, Catherine has come to work with a bruise on her arm because she bumped into something and doesn't remember what it was. Like, I just...
Most likely a dog.
My wife says most likely a dog, if you couldn't hear her. But yes, so I've made it to the point where she knows that Edward is a vampire. Also, this is going to be full of spoilers. I'm assuming you've read these if you're watching this. If you haven't read them, I feel like you've probably seen the movies or know that these exist. So this is a spoiler-filled video. I'm sorry, it just is going to be. But okay, she went to Forks because her mom remarried, though she's been long divorced from the dad. And Bella decided she wanted to go to Forks to give her mom the ability to travel with the new husband. Though she didn't really tell the mom that. She just kind of was like, I'm gonna go to Forks and live with Charlie, her dad, who she like doesn't call dad ever unless she's talking to him, and then she's like, hi dad, or she'll be like, Char dad. Sorry, I looked away and my camera's like, who are you? There's a cat on my stove. Do you want to say hi? This is Binks. He says hello, hi, hello. You're going down underground. But okay, so besides the fact that she went to Forks, like, I appreciate that she went there because she felt like her mom wanted to travel and she felt bad that she couldn't travel because Bella was at home going to school. So like, that's very altruistic. I appreciate that, like, large gesture and like thing she's doing for her mom. But also, like, is the dating scene so bad in Forks that every boy in the Tri-County area is into her? Like, I get the whole point of Edward is he's into her because she has this aroma to her, which, fine. They use that, like, scent thing in the Sookie Stackhouse books. That is also a thing where, like, a vampire smells someone and they're, like, instantly attracted to them. Sure. But every human boy is also like, can I take you to the dance? I know it's the girls' ask dance, but can I go with you? Can we go to the dance? I'm gonna take you to prom. I'm like, oh my god, do you not like any of the girls who go to your school? Have you never seen a girl? Like, I'm just, oh, 3 dudes before she even, like, goes on a thing with Edward are like, we really want to go out with you. Like, what is life for this girl? Anyway, so I'm trying to get around my whole, like, why is she written like this? Because I know it's tropes. I know it's tropes. I know these tropes exist. I get it. I do. I really do. I just don't like any of those tropes. But Edward has opened up about the fact that he is a vampire to her and she's not scared. Kind of is, but says she isn't. Also, I did not realize Jacob was younger than her. I had completely forgotten that, even though I know I have read this one before because I remember, like, odd bits and pieces. Not enough to have counted this as a book that's imprinted in my memory. But, like, he's 2 years younger than her and she knows his older sisters. And I'm like, but what? Like, I'm like, I know right now he's really scrawny and stuff. I'm pretty sure you get jacked in the later books because werewolves, which are hinted at. Like, of course he's a werewolf if they're not allowed on the res. Like, duh. Not that anyone would put that, like, that's not a vital thing for Bella to know right now. But I'm just like, really? He's obviously a werewolf. But yeah, maybe you don't get your powers till you're 16. I don't know. I'll find out. I'm gonna get to that book. But yes, so he sparkled. And I know that Spider Monkey is a phrase, but it's not in this book. So it must be in the movie, because he calls her a coward in this one when he picks her up. But yes, so we've gotten sparkles. We've gotten that he can mind read, but not all vampires or any of the vampires he knows can. We know that only Alice is okay with him hanging out with her. No one else is really okay with it. There's also been, like, the car that he saved her from, which is why she was like, are you a superhero? Like, what the heck? So it's very quick. YA makes me feel like a superstar sometimes because if it's not super complicated, I can plow through the dang thing. So hopefully I will finish this tomorrow because then we'll watch the movie, because the plan is I finish the book, we watch the movie. So hopefully we can watch the movie tomorrow, which means I have to read, I'm not going to do math right now. It's under 200 pages. That's all you need to know. But yes, so I am having a fun time reading it. Just putting out of my mind that I hate the tropes being used for Bella's character. Because, oh my god, sometimes klutzes are just klutzes. It's not endearing. It's painful and annoying to be a klutz. I promise you. And Bella would bruise super easily, for sure, because she's pale. I'm pale. This is why I bruise. I bruise real bad, because I'm real pale. Anyway, yes. So I'm at that point. We will keep going. I vaguely think I remember the end of this book. Super vaguely. Not in a way that will be helpful to anyone, but I feel like I'll be like, oh yes, that, when I get to it. But yes, so I'll update you, hopefully when I finish this one, because I'm close. But I gotta go. I have dishes, we have dogs to take out, there are cats to cuddle, things to do. Okay, talk to you later. Hello. So my workday is done. My monitors are still on because I keep getting prompts to run Windows updates like every day, which is driving me slightly up a wall. But whatever, monitors are on. I thought I would film here because my in-laws are actually stopping by because we ordered this like food package thing and it gets delivered. Like you pick it up at a place that's closer to them than to us, so they're just bringing it by today. So I'm filming this really quick before they get here. Ooh, I have a big gap right here. We're gonna just, there we go. Less gappy. Slightly doing its own thing. Whatever. I did a photo of me in like a Bella-esque outfit wearing this flannel I think I have had since high school, and pants that I know I have had since like college. I don't get rid of things that I really like, so I just have these things. But I did a photo because mostly to soft, would it be called a soft launch? Hard launch? I don't know. To tell people that I am reading the Twilight series on Instagram for the first time. But I did actually finish this during my lunch break. I was so close to done. So I read a hunk of it yesterday, like just randomly when I had time. And then last night I drank coffee too close to when we were going to bed, so I was like still pretty awake and Krista was tired, so I read for a little while after she went to bed, and then my eyes just got too tired, but I only had like the smallest amount of pages left, so I was like, I'm finishing this. So I read a little before work and then I finished it at lunch, and oh my gosh, I'm done. I'm so excited. And I did remember the end, kind of. Okay, so I did remember, and this is going to be all over the place, I'm so sorry, because there's stuff from the update I did yesterday. So because I was gonna give dates so you like know how long this takes me, yesterday was the 21st of February, today is the 22nd. I sometimes try and change outfits, but it'll just depend like how busy we are. I might be wearing the same sweatshirt because I sometimes wear the same sweatshirt over and over again for a few days. So anyway, I got to the end and I did remember the end. I remembered the ballet studio, and I remembered Bella being like kidnapped at the ballet studio. So what I remembered when I went into this book was very little, but I like randomly in my brain was like, doesn't Bella wind up like not in Forks at the end and then like at a ballet studio and bad stuff happens? Like that's all I could remember. I have no idea why. I don't know why that cemented itself into my brain so firmly when I read this probably 9 years ago or something. I don't know. Actually, no, I can't math. That's not even remotely correct. 19, it would have been 19 years ago. Oh my God. So, hey, you can figure out how old I am now. I mentioned that somewhere. I was like, someone guess how old I am. I just can't math right now. Oh my goodness. It's been a very, very busy work day. So my brain is fried. But I wanted to do this before the in-laws are here so that I have the update. Blah, 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 blah. Okay, so I did remember the end, kind of. I didn't remember that she actively went to Phoenix, like with Edward's family. So I did remember there was baseball, mostly because people like do a lot of stuff with the baseball scene. Like there are cosplays, there are meetups, there are things. I've seen people in the baseball outfits. So I was like, I remember there being baseball, vaguely. Mostly because of that, because it gets reiterated in my brain. But, okay, let's see. He had sparkled. So really the highlights after that point are they played baseball. He officially asked Bella out, I guess. She met the whole family. I love Alice. Rosalie, I feel like we must learn more about as the book goes on, but I really like Alice right now. So like they met Alice has these visions, then while they're playing baseball she's like, those people that I saw, they're coming, and like this group of 3 arrives, and one of them is a creep, and he's a tracker, but he like tracks humans. Like he'll like fixate on a human and want to like eat them. So he's like fixated on Bella because Edward tried to protect her and blah, blah, blah. So he was like hunting her down, and then like, we have to protect her, we have to get her out of town. So there's this whole like elaborate like, she's going to Phoenix, but he can't know she's going to Phoenix. Blah, blah, blah. Everyone's running around, stuff's happening. She's just to fake a fight with Edward so that her dad thinks they broke up even though they weren't dating. Whatever. So she winds up in Phoenix, which is fine. Like, she made up the plan, even though these centuries old beings should have had a plan in mind for how to like discreetly run her away, but okay, I guess not. I'm just saying, she's 17, yeah, 17, like, they have hundreds of years of experience on her, and they were all like, yes, we'll go with your plan. And I was like, what? She's 17. Do your own thing. Take her somewhere. I don't know. And also, like, this is gonna sound so mean, but I don't know why they didn't take out the woman, who they also kept being like, the female, the woman, the woman who was with the tracker. I don't know why they weren't like, this is suspicious that she's doing all of this stuff, because they're like following her, and I'm like, just take her out. Like, she's alone. Take the girl out. Whatever. I'm not a vampire trying to keep the peace, I guess. I'm just like, take her out. Done. It's done. She's not in town. We only have to worry about one guy. Because the third guy was like, nah, I don't want to deal with this. I'm going away. I'm gonna go north or wherever. But she doesn't technically get kidnapped. She gets like tricked into leaving Alice and Jasper, and then she like runs away from them and goes to the ballet studio because he tricked her into thinking her mom was on the phone, but she wasn't. So she thought he kidnapped her mom. Then she's there, and we don't really get much of what happens with her, because it's kind of like, so he breaks her leg and injures her, but she doesn't realize she's been bitten until she's like out of it, and we're getting Carlisle doing medical care, which is fine. Like, she's a young girl. We do not need the graphic violence against a young girl to occur in this book. Just telling us it happened. He did break her leg, which is really bad, but like, we don't get all of the ins and outs of what happened. Anyway, blah, 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 brain. Sorry, I'm talking so fast. But then they like fixed it, and Edward was able to suck the vampire venom out of her, but she's like, why did you, when she like awakes at the hospital, she's like, you could have just left it in. Why didn't you leave it in? We could have been together forever. I don't think Bella talks like that, and I'm so sorry, but like, she is 17 and has known this boy for how long? And she's like, I just want to be with you forever. And he's like, I'll be with you. I'll never leave you. I think this is why I couldn't keep reading it, because this is gonna sound, I don't like insta-love in books. Like, I don't like when the two characters are immediately like, boom, together forever, we're in love, we'll never part, I don't want to be without you forever and ever and ever, especially when you're a child. She is 17. The girl cannot even legally vote. And she's like, forever, I want to be a vampire with you. Also, you're 17 and really clumsy. Do you think becoming a vampire will be good for you? Like, my immediate thought is, you're so clumsy that the Cullens told your mother you tripped up a flight of stairs or down a flight of stairs and out a window. And broke a window. Wasn't that she fell out a window and then I don't, there was a lot of falling. They're like, you're so klutzy. They believed us. And I'm like, if she does that as a person, would her problem with clumsiness go away as a vampire? I'll find out, because they're like, she's like, Alice knows I'll become a vampire, doesn't she? And he's like, no, we don't know that. She also thought you were dead. That didn't happen. And I'm like, okay, I mean, admittedly, I know she becomes a vampire because the movies and the books exist in the universe, and I may not have read them or consumed them, but I was not oblivious to the world that we live in. Like, I knew pop culture. So like, I know it eventually happens, but I'm just like, again, you are 17. Do you want to be a 17-year-old forever? Does Edward seem happy about being 17 forever? In the Vampire Diaries, did anyone seem happy about being 17 forever? Like, I'm just like, could you at least wait until you like hit your 20s? You level out a little so that you can pass for like varied ages for a little. Maybe even wait till your 30s. I don't know. Whatever. But anyway. So she's like, you should have turned me, blah, blah, blah. She's like, no, but I'll never leave you. And then we get the epilogue. The epilogue. where they get her super dressed up. And she's shocked. I also appreciate that Edward's like, you were really surprised that we dressed you up to go to prom? Like, where did you think I was taking you all dressed up? Not the prom? So like, going to the prom. Jacob also appears and Jacob is suddenly taller, I guess, because she's like, how tall are you? And he's like, I'm 6'2". I don't care how tall he is, but that's very tall. And I'm like, I don't know. Does it matter how tall he is? Is this to tell us that he's grown since she saw him? I don't know. Maybe she just didn't notice. I know he is a love interest for her, even though he's 2 years younger than her. I don't like that her options are a boy who's 2 years younger than her, or a man who is old enough to be her, like, multiple great-grandfather. I know this is the thing. I know this is how this goes. I read the Suki Stackhouse books. The men she's with are also old enough to be her grandfather. She's just not in high school. Like, also a man who literally, so like they could be her great grandfathers, but a man who could be her grandfather in those books is like, hey, if you ever want to get with someone, get with me. If you've never read the books, it's a Jaguar guy. I think he's hilarious. Anyway, this is a side tangent. I'm so sorry. He's played, fun fact, the character I'm talking about in the Suki Stackhouse books is played by like Joe Manganiello in the series. And even though I did not watch that series, I watched the first episode with my mother and it was a horrible idea. It was just very awkward. So awkward. Anyway, but when I found out that they cast Joe Manganiello as the character I'm talking about, I was like, him? The guy who's him in the book is like elderly. Okay. Big upgrade on that guy. They like combined some characters, but in the book I thought he was very funny because he like flirts with Suki all the time, just because. Anyway, back to the actual book that I'm reading. So, they wind up going to prom, and then Bella's like, well, I thought maybe you changed your mind and you were turning me. And he's like, do you think that would be a black tie affair? And she's like, I don't know. And I'm like, also, why? He said it's really painful. You had vampire venom in you and it was painful. And he's like, it hurts. Like, I don't, you know. So like, her fixation on it so early in their relationship is annoying to me. Like, I'm just like, you don't need to be a vampire. Like, just date him. Maybe wait until you almost accidentally die. As you are so clumsy, this could happen apparently at any point in your life. So that was the slight issue that I was having. I also did gloss over a couple things from earlier in the book. So Bella gets faint when blood is around, but like she says it's the smell of blood, and Edward's like, humans aren't supposed to smell that, and I'm like, I am very sure a number of people I know it's like blood smells like if you smell blood, like if someone is cut, it has a scent. Like you don't like want to eat it because you're not a vampire, but like blood has a scent. I was like, okay, it does actually smell like something to people. Okay, maybe I'm weird, but I was just like, okay, that's strange that you're confused by her knowledge of scent of blood. Also, I definitely glossed over this. She goes to Port Angeles or whatever to go dress shopping with her friends earlier in the book. She disappears for an extended period of time in a town she has never been. And her friends just are like, meh, she's at the bookstore. They just like don't care. But it turns out Edward's been stalking her and he saves her. I am just giving him the benefit of the doubt that he's stalking her at this point because like she has almost died. He doesn't really have anything to do. But like he also shows up at her home while she's asleep and I'm like, dude, be less weird. And she thinks it's charming and I'm like, but if he's a human guy outside your window at all hours of the night, you'd be like, ugh. Or at least I would hope you'd be like, ugh, restraining order. But okay, he doesn't sleep, so fine. I'm just giving him a pass on the creepy stalking, okay? I'm giving, just would not if he were human. Really don't want to now, but fine. It's a thing he's doing and it saves her life in this situation, which she shouldn't be in at all because her friends should have been concerned. They should have been concerned. Whatever. There was that, but I feel like there's something else I had one more thing. I'm so sorry. I feel like I'm just like trashing this book series, which is not intentional. I'm really not. I dislike that Bella, at a certain point in the book, just cannot be trusted to walk on her own. Like, I get they're trying to get her away from a vampire, but like she's consistently being like picked up on someone's back, carried in their arms. She even goes to dance and Edward like has her stand on his feet. And I'm like, she has legs. Like, she's incapable of using them. I mean, at the prom, she has one like in a boot, but like he also carries her down the stairs at her own home. And I'm like, I get you can pick her up, but why? Like, let her be ambulatory. She's not injured. She could walk in her own home, at least. And like, I get, again, they're trying to do things quickly at a certain point, but like, Esme even like picks her up and like carries her up the stairs. Alice is frequently picking her up, and I'm like, I think she could walk right now. I think that would be fine. You don't need to lift her and carry her around like she's a tiny child. But okay, I mean, in comparison to you, yes, she is a tiny child, but still. Okay, those were my rants. Sorry if that was mean. I'm trying not to be mean. I know this series is super beloved, but I remember why I didn't read anymore. And I'm so sorry. I will keep reading them. I am curious to see how after all of her I want to be a vampire with you, Bella even has feelings for Jacob. I don't know how that happens. I'm like, I literally thought like at the end they broke up or something. Like I was like, maybe they break up at the end. Maybe that's why. But no, that isn't what happened. So I'm confused as to how she gets with or even like has a crush on the werewolf. So I'm very intrigued by this. That is at least getting me through. Like, I just don't, all the like, turn me, I want to be with you forever, turns into like, I hate you and I'm gonna date this werewolf guy. Like, I don't, sorry. I was not that dramatic at 17. I don't think. Maybe I was. Who knows? I was not romantically into anyone at 17. I didn't really date. Just whatever. It does not matter at all. But I wasn't like super into romance. I didn't really watch rom-coms. I just wasn't really into the idea of romance. So that also probably did not help when I picked this up at 14, 15. I probably would have been like, no, I don't want this. So I am at least invested in the fact that I have no idea how she gets with the werewolf or why she gets with the werewolf. So that intrigues me. Also, I know more like vampire-y stuff happens, like drama things. And I don't know what those things will be. So that'll be interesting. But yes, so I finished Twilight, which also means we're watching the Twilight movie tonight. Hopefully, we might wind up watching it tomorrow, which is fine. I do have to take a tiny Twilight break. Sorry, that was an asthma cough, and I have coffee that I should drink, but my throat is dry. This was not a short recap. I am glad I started filming this right after work, or we would be doomed. But I actually have another book that I'm going to show you. It'll be really glary because it's a hardback. But I finally, let's see, can we, cool. My hold on Out There Screaming at my library finally came in. I've had this book requested for at least 2 months. I was at this point just thinking someone stole the book, but it's finally in and I want to read it before the Literally Dead book club. So my goal is to finish this and then I will get back to Twilight reading, and I will have New Moon to read. I think that's the next one. I have them in order. I apparently had them in the wrong order when I picked them up the first time. I flipped books 3 and 2 somehow when I was moving the stack around. But I will get back to those after I read Out There Screaming. I might tell you my thoughts on Out There Screaming. I don't know, just as a side thing because I do need to read it. So there'll be a tiny gap in updates for me. I am trying to knock this out pretty quick though because I don't know when the live show is. I don't remember. I have to see if it's posted anywhere or if that's just like at the end of the month. I don't know. But I'm gonna go because I definitely want to change into slightly cozier clothes for the evening. And then we're having dinner and I have to load grocery stuff into our fridge. But I have to go. So I will see you when I start New Moon. Yes, New Moon, Eclipse, Breaking Dawn. Yes, New Moon is next. Sorry, I had to do the whole thing in my head. But yes, When I start that one, I will get back to you, and I'll also probably give you a tiny, like, this is what I thought about Out There Screaming. All right, talk to you later. Hello. Okay, it has been a few days since my update. Also, please ignore any dates that I mentioned because my concept of time is very not great, even though I type the date when I'm at work like every day. All my dates are messed up. Anyway, so if I mention a date, it might not be correct. And I think I did in the last update clip. But anyway, I am here because, unrelated to this vlog, I have finished, I'm gonna show it to you because it's going back to the library, Out There Screaming for technically the Literally Dead book club. I requested this so long ago, but it just worked out that my hold came in when, like, in the month that Literally Dead book club is doing that for the book club. So I just finished it today. Hi, Goose. I'm with all the cats right now. Krista is taking a shower, and we watched Twilight yesterday. So we watched the first movie because I finished the first book. The setup will be that if I finish, like, close to the day that I finish the book, I will watch the movie, starting New Moon, which you are currently sitting on, tonight/tomorrow. But I wanted to say that we watched the first movie. I know it's a little different from the book. I will say the movie does a better job of setting up the, like, they're not all trackers, only one of them is, but it does a good job of setting up the encroaching vampires. So they're actually attacking Forks, so they're more of a threat than just like they appear at the end and they're after Bella. So it is a little different, and I actually like that more in the movie than I did the book. I feel like, because I know some characters are combined, some characters are altered a little bit. They don't talk about Alice not knowing how she was made or how she was turned. And in the movies, I like the actress playing Alice, I really do. But the way she's described in the book, I don't know that it fully fits. But again, I'm sure they're trying to avoid any comparisons to Claudia. What I'm getting from, so when I read Alice's character in Twilight, I am getting a slight similarity to Claudia from the Vampire Diaries, good lord, Interview with the Vampire books, where she is very young. She is worldly beyond her years because she was turned at such a young age. Even the movie for Interview with the Vampire, where she is aged up, which if you didn't know, Kristen Dunst in Interview with the Vampire is actually playing an aged up version of Claudia. I prefer the television version of her to movie or book. In the book, she is so young, and even in the movie, she is still young, but she is slightly older than the book. And in the new TV show, she is even older than that, which is slightly more comfortable to watch. But I get that vibe from Alice, that Alice was turned much younger because they say she's like small. That's the vibe I get from the writing, and I do appreciate that she is shown as an older character, akin in age and slight body type. I'm using quotes because she does not have the same body type as Edward Cullen, but she has a more adult appearance in the movies, which I appreciate. I also like that Charlie in the movie is more, he's still not super present in Bella's life, but he is more present than he is in the book, where in the book he's just kind of like gone all the time. What else? We don't get a lot of backstory for the other vampires in the movie, which I think is probably cut out for time, admittedly, because for the viewer, is it really that important to know that Jasper can control emotions of people, or like just things like that, or like Emmett and Edward go bear hunting? Like, you don't need to know those things really for the plot to exist. I will say, and I said this while we were watching it, when they're looking at dresses in the movie, the way Kristen Stewart is sitting just looks so gay. I'm really sorry. I know at the time these movies came out, she wasn't even remotely out, but she's just like in the window. She's like, her feet are all hunched up. Like, the seating just gives gay vibes. Also, it's Kristen Stewart, who I now know is a gay woman. I mean, when those movies were made, no one knew that. She wasn't out. Sorry. It's late. My asthma sometimes acts up, even if I've taken my medication when it's late. So I may cough a little, or like look like I'm gonna cough, and I won't. My lungs, because of my asthma, do cause me to cough periodically, even though I'm on medication. So just throwing that out there if you haven't seen my previous videos, or you didn't catch that I mentioned it. Asthma is a jerk. But anyway, blah, blah, where was I? Yes. So now that I know in real life that Kristen Stewart is gay, I am probably trying to pick that up in her acting, even though she is not attempting. She's playing a straight character, who is remarkably in love with Edward Cullen. I appreciate the work the movie does to condense the book, because the book is pretty long for a YA book. So I did appreciate that. I think, this is just me, the CGI for Edward Sparkling is very different than what I pictured when I was reading it. But that's just me. And also it's mid-2000s at that point, maybe, CGI. So it's not going to be stellar. It's doing what it can. But I did enjoy the movie. I was having fun watching it. Is it the best movie in the world? No. But at that time, when that movie came out, or close to when that movie came out, it did not come out at the exact same time, I loved Van Helsing. And you know what? That movie is a chaotic mess. A wonderful chaotic mess. But I will give this movie the grace of it was a franchise movie of a YA book, when making franchise movie YA books was a whole thing in the movie industry. I had fun watching it. Some of the filters are goofy. The wig they decide to put on Taylor Lautner is weird. I also just am like, okay, whatever. Like, things are cut out, things are slightly tweaked. That's always going to happen. The flashback filter is curious when Jacob is telling the story about technically the Cullens. In the book, I was pointing out to Krista, because she's read and seen the movies, but it's been a while. I was like, he like actually says it's the Cullens, and he is like, it's descendants of the Cullens, maybe, in the movie. And I'm like, in the book, you're just kind of like, it's the Cullens, Bella, the Cullens. But whatever. So I did enjoy the movie as like a fun, goofy, like chilling out, just watching a movie. So I will say I enjoyed the movie. It's not, again, not the world's best movie. It is more diversely cast though than the book. So I am giving it points for having non-white characters. There aren't a lot of those, but it's more than in the very white book. Also, humorously enough, right after I finished Twilight, I noticed that Princess Weeks on YouTube, she also has an Instagram, but she's on YouTube. I think she, her. I believe she, her are her correct pronouns. Just did a video about Twilight, and I watched the whole thing. It was very insightful and very helpful, and just great to, even though there are slight spoilers for some things that I already knew. And I did get spoiled for stuff I didn't know, but I'm not really worried about it. It was a really good video. So I would say, even if you are super into Twilight and you don't really want to critically think about it, which I know is the case. I know I'm trying not to hate on the series. I'm really not. Just, there are a lot of flaws for me in general for a YA vampire series. But I will say that if you love the series, I think you should watch her video, because it does focus on critical aspects of the series that I think all readers or enjoyers of Twilight content should think about. I do. I understand not wanting to think about it, like digging too critically into just a YA series. I do. But I think there are some things that are necessary to look at in this series. I have not gotten to the point where Jacob is like a big character, but I know he does become one. And I will say, I do find it very uncomfortable that Bella is immediately attracted to a vampire who is much older than her. Just like a lot older than her. It makes me uncomfortable. And his behavior toward her is also slightly uncomfortable for me. He's stalking her. Like, he is genuinely stalking her. But because it's a teen vampire romance, it's okay. And I am giving some of it a pass. Like, I am gonna continue reading right now, but it also gives me a little bit of the ick that he's like, yeah, I watched you sleep. And I'm like, okay. You're just like, were you in a room? You were outside a room? Like, that's not cool, dude. But yes, so I am interested to see the rest of the movies. When I finish New Moon, we will watch it. And then on and on. The only annoying part is Breaking Dawn is 2 movies, so we are gonna movie marathon them, so we'll watch them back to back hopefully, after I finish that book, which again, that book's pretty big, so I kind of understand splitting it in half. Like another franchise did, and that franchise is the reason that these other movies have been, the final books in other series were cut in half. I get it. I understand. I will say Breaking Dawn is pretty big, so I get it. Also, you want to make that money at the box office, duh. But yes, so that's the update so far. The movie was fun. I do really want to watch a more gay Kristen Stewart thing. I know Personal Shopper was on Hulu, and I remember really liking that movie. She doesn't play particularly gay in that one, from what I remember, but I do remember really liking it. It's like an indie movie. I also really want to watch Charlie's Angels while I'm reading these books. The one she is in, of course. There are 3. She's in the remake, which I liked, okay? And then there's something else. Oh, I don't want to rewatch this, and she's not super in it, but she was in this, she's like the voiceover person for this very fun ghost hunting series on Hulu, and she's like a producer, executive producer on it. I can't remember what it's called. It's a Hulu original, and it's ghost hunting, and it's gay. And I would recommend it. I really, really liked it, and I cannot, was it like, no, I can't remember the title at all, which is driving me a little up the wall, but it's fine. It's a Hulu original about ghost hunting, and it's very gay, and it's very fun. So I highly recommend it. So yes, I need to get into New Moon, which I don't think is going to take me too wildly long, but we will see. And then I'll get to the rest of them. I did though, okay, I'm going to try and move my camera slightly. Oh my gosh, they all look so cute. Okay, hold on. I want to show you all the cats. They're all sleeping. Hold on. I want to show you something else, but I really want to show you the cats. Okay, I gotta move really quietly. Shh. Okay, okay. You're gonna get some weird angles for a sec. Shh, you're really close to my face. Really close. Sorry. All right. There are some cats. I need to move my monitor a bit. There's a Salem. You already saw them, but those are Binks and Bane. Binks is in a lot of trouble today because he knocked an entire curtain rod down and a whole curtain. And then that's Goose, who's sleeping on her favorite side of the bed. That's her mom's side. So Krista sleeps on that side, and Krista is like her favorite person ever. So she likes to sleep on her side. But yeah, they all look really, 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 really cute. But the other thing I wanted to show you, I'll bring it down, but there's a bunch of laundry. It's all clean. It's just not put away. But this drives me bananas. So this is New Moon. Cover, very similar. We'll put you here. And then on the side, it just says New Moon, and then it has this like little brown logo that's white and red. But it doesn't say what book in the series it is. And I'm gonna grab, I'm gonna just stare at New Moon for a sec. Eclipse, and all the other books, like all the other 3. You're gonna focus? You're gonna focus? Hi, Salem. Wants to focus on her. Let's see if he'll focus. No. Oh, you're not going to. Hold on. Kind of. You can do it. Hello. It's so annoying. One sec. Let's prop this closer to camera. Maybe it'll do it if I put my hands here. Can you see me? No, does not care. There we go. So it says the Twilight Saga book 3 and has a red logo like all the other books. And for some bizarre reason, New Moon doesn't have that stuff on the side, which I think is dumb. I hate when they do that. But yes, so my bookmark is in it. I haven't read any yet. Okay. I read this. I read the Romeo and Juliet quote, and that is it. Oh, and Salem's gonna attack my camera because it has a strap. Oh, okay. Told you, as my dogs are getting antsy. So Salem is gonna say goodbye to you. She wants to strap on my camera. So you get this very cute kitty moment with New Moon. But I'm gonna go. The next time you see me, I will be updating you on how far I am in New Moon. So I'll talk to you later. Bye. Hello. Okay, I'm gonna do an actual like Twilight-y update a little bit later. I am a little over 200 pages into New Moon. I'm not gonna tell you anything yet. I will do an update after work, but I'm on my lunch break, and I just want to show off. I made this a couple days ago. It's beer bread. Yes, it's a hunk of butter that hasn't melted. Sorry. But I made beer bread with Guinness, and I'm very proud of it because it tastes good. And I baked it from scratch. I also made brownies from scratch, which I'm very proud of because I've never done that before. But yes, so I don't want to give like a huge update because I'm gonna like set you up after work and talk after I do dog outs. But yeah. I have many opinions that you're not getting yet, but I thought I would show you that and then give you some update on my progress that I have actually made it about halfway. I just off and on reading. So I'll just let you know because I probably won't get too much further because work. But I'll read a little bit more during lunch. Then I can give you an update after work. So be ready for lots of new moon thoughts. But I'm gonna go and eat my bread because it's lunch. And I will talk to you later. Okay, hello. You're at a kind of goofy angle, but you've seen this angle before. I'm wearing my Fun Hex Girls sweatshirt if you didn't notice before. So my work day is officially over. And I actually was super hungry, so I ate my beer bread really fast and then read for the rest of my lunch break. So I'm now on page 382, which is chapter 17. Okay, so many things have happened. Okay, so I now officially know how Jacob becomes a werewolf, which was my key, like, how does this happen? How does that work? Which I wanted to know. Also, I have learned so many things. Okay, blah, 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 blah. All right, let's start at the beginning because I'm talking out of order. So I'm very sure you've read these books if you're watching this, but in this story, we open on Bella's birthday. She doesn't want to celebrate her birthday. She's actually very paranoid about birthdays now. Paranoid's the wrong word, but she's like very self-conscious about them because she's like, I'm getting older. Now I'm 18. Edward was never 18. And I'm like, it's fine. Like, physically your body is 18, but you probably don't look any different. Like, I understand she doesn't want to be older looking than Edward, but that won't happen for at least a little while. I feel like the human body doesn't like immediately age, like super noticeably in your like teens and early 20s. Like it just doesn't. But okay, that's my own opinion. I don't know, I'm not a doctor, but she didn't want to celebrate at all. But of course the Cullens are super excited because they don't really celebrate birthdays because they're vampires. So they throw her a party she doesn't want, but she goes. And also Alice gets her gift, even though she told them no gifts. She also gets gifts from her parents, even though she also told them she didn't want gifts. She gets camera and a photo album, scrapbook thing. And the Cullens wind up getting her a new stereo for her car. But everything goes awry because she cuts her finger opening a present, but then that paper cut leads to Jasper freaking out because he's having the worst time with his bloodlust for human blood. She like falls backward / is pushed into a table that is glass and then it gets broken. I'm pretty sure it's a glass table. If not, I'm slightly misremembering, but there's a lot of glass. She winds up cutting her arm, so she's bleeding like everywhere, which is bad. So everyone's like freaking out. Carlisle winds up doing surgery. She talks to Carlisle about how he can like handle being around blood. We find out more about Edward's creation as a vampire, which is interesting because it's like his mom told Carlisle to save him and then seemed to know that Carlisle was not human, or he feels like it almost felt like he does not think she knew he was a vampire, but he says that she seems to have thought he could do things that other doctors could not. So that was interesting. I did appreciate that. But then Edward, a tiny bit of time passes. Edward's like, Bella, let's go for a walk in the woods. And they go for a walk in the woods. And then he tells her they're leaving town. Like, immediately. Everyone else is already gone. And Edward's just like, I'm going. Now. Good day. Like, he just leaves her in the woods. And I'm just like, sir, the girl wants you to make her a vampire. She has said that she wants to be with you forever. I don't know that it was a smart move to just be like, I'm leaving town and abandon her in the woods because she's obviously going to have a breakdown. Like, she doesn't know what to do without him. She gets lost in the woods. A search party is called. She is found. She is brought home where she's then in like, I'm going to call it a fugue state, which is not correct, I don't believe. But she is going to school. She's literally going to school, going to her job, doing homework. That's it. Like, she's not going anywhere else. She's not doing anything else. And then she does something where, she goes to the movies, with, is it Jessica? All of the humans are kind of unnecessary now. Like, she's going to school, but she hasn't been talking to them, so they all stop talking to her, so she's not really friends with anyone. And then she's like, Charlie is telling her she needs to, like, maybe do something besides sitting at home. And then she's like, I'm going to the movies. with Jess. And he's like, you don't have to go to the movies. Like, I was just saying, like, don't just sit around. But she winds up going to the movies. He actually suggests she see a psychiatrist, which I think would have been very good. But she's like, I wouldn't be able to tell her the truth. And I'm like, you don't need to tell her about the vampire part. Like, you're not functioning normally because you can't handle the fact that Edward is not in your life. Like, you should see someone. But she doesn't. She winds up going to the movies and then does something very reckless where she sees the guys from the first book who catcalled her, and then Edward said that he almost killed. She sees them going into a bar and like follows them inside, even though Jess is like, what are you doing? And she like vaguely confronts them. They don't remember her. And when that happens, she hears Edward's voice in her brain. She's like, maybe I'm hallucinating, maybe not. But if I choose something dangerous, because he told her not to do anything dangerous or reckless, or there's a specific phrase, but it's basically don't do anything reckless and stupid. I think it's reckless and stupid, yeah. So she's like, I'm going to do more reckless and stupid things. She gets 2 motorcycles that are being like thrown away by someone. And then she's like, I can't fix these, but I know who can. Jacob! And so Jacob is reintroduced, and then they start like becoming friends again while he's working on these motorcycles for her. And she's not telling him that she wants these because she's literally not supposed to be on one. Like, she's been told to never ride on a motorcycle. And I understand, all the children in my family were told we could never ride a motorcycle, be on a motorcycle, own a motorcycle. It's a thing we're not allowed to do. Like, it's a rule. Because my grandma on my mom's side saw a horrible motorcycle accident, and we are thus banned from ever touching a motorcycle. If I touch a motorcycle, I'm pretty sure like I will immediately like fall backwards. Perhaps my skin will catch a flame. I don't know, but I'm not allowed to touch a motorcycle. So I'm like, I get it, no motorcycles. But Jacob builds this motorcycle for her. So like they're bonding because of the motorcycles, and they're getting closer and they're spending more time together. And Jacob does profess that he likes Bella. Like, it is very noticeable that he has feelings for her. And he's like, so yeah, like I have feelings for you. And she's like, oh, you're very tall and handsome, but I just want to be friends. And like, she points this out periodically to him, and he's like trying to be okay with it. And then it turns out that we know there are werewolves, right? Everyone knows that Jacob will become a werewolf. I just didn't know how. So admittedly, it turns out that the Cullens being in the area ultimately triggered their turning into werewolves. Though it's interesting that they don't turn until they've like left. Though apparently some of them had already turned while the Cullens were there, but people didn't know. So like Jacob is like, well, people knew, but not Jacob. So Jacob points out to us this group of guys that we have never seen before, or mentioned, but we didn't spend a lot of time with Jacob, so that makes sense. There's a group of guys that hang out together. He gets like a weird feeling from them. He doesn't want to be around them, but as it turns out that he will be around them all the time because Sam is the alpha. And this gets very into I think Vampire Diaries is older than this. I don't know if it's in that book though. But in the Vampire Diaries show, which I watched, I'm not reading the books. Gavin Reads It All read them, and I have no interest. But in that show, if there was an alpha and he told you to do something, you had to do it. Or if he told you not to do something, you physically could not do that thing. So Jacob has been sworn to secrecy, but he has already told Bella in the previous book that there are vampires and werewolves. So if she can guess it, he's like, maybe you can know what I am, but like I can't tell you. So like everyone has a stomach flu at a certain point. Mike, Bella, and Jacob wind up going to the movies when Jacob winds up pointing out that like he likes her, and like I'll wait and we'll see how the heck that goes, even though she's like, I just want to be friends, like we are besties, bro, I'm in love with someone else, sorry. Even though later she'll be like, well, like I don't really love him, but like we could be together and it would be easy maybe. I'm not sure how easy it would be because he is still a werewolf, and it seems like if he gets too angry based on the description, he could Hulk out and she'd get injured. I'm comparing it to hulking out because that's what it seems like. It seems very like rage makes me wolf, but blah, blah, blah. I jumped around again. Everyone has a stomach flu. Jacob gets sick. And then he like can't talk to her on the phone, or when he does, it's like very brief, or like his dad is saying like, no, he's not available, he has mono, or like, no, he's out with these boys, or like, he can't talk to you. Well, Bella winds up being confronted by Laurent while doing something reckless and stupid, which is wandering into the woods after people keep saying there's a giant bear. Turns out it's not a bear, it's wolves. The wolves in this are giant. They're like massive, huge, beastie wolf things. But she runs into Laurent. Laurent's like, yeah, I was in Alaska, but now I'm eating people again, and I would like to eat you. So he like tries to eat Bella, and then he tells her that Victoria wants to kill her because Edward killed her mate, and she thinks it would be fitting if she killed his mate. She's not a vampire right now, so not mate, but whatever, you get it. The wolves wind up killing Laurent. I'm gonna cough, sorry. Too much talking, too fast. So yeah, they wind up killing Laurent, which is good, but Victoria is still around. Bella figures out that he is a werewolf, but she thinks that the werewolves are killing people when they're hunting the vampires who are killing people. But for a while she's like, you're a murderer and a monster, and he's like, what are you talking about? You're totally fine with Edward, but me being a werewolf, big no. And she's like, oh, you're not killing people? And he's like, no, we're killing vampires, and these didn't seem like people you liked, so what does it matter? So right now they're hunting Victoria, or attempting to hunt Victoria. There were also hunting parties trying to kill the wolves, because they think it's like a giant grizzly bear for a while, and then Bella ends up telling her dad, no, it's wolves, I saw a pack of wolves. So they know it's wolves, but like, I don't know, it's werewolves. So yeah, so Bella and Jacob have a fight where he like says he can't talk to her, and then they wind up making up because now she knows he's a werewolf because she guessed, and so she's kind of hanging out with him and the werewolf pack. But where I got to, Bella just drowned cliff diving but was saved, and then she just saw Carlisle's car. So a Cullen at least is seemingly back in Forks, but Jacob can't be around a Cullen now. He says, he's like, they're my enemy, I must leave. So yes, I will say there's a lot of focus on the fact that Jacob is now not like the nice, happy all the time boy. He is now aggressive. They mention he like seems upset when he's talking to Bella and he punches a tree and the tree like snaps. Also the wolves kind of like fight each other anytime their tempers are raised, it seems like, because he like explodes into a wolf and attacks another member of the pack who is like pissed at Bella. So they're more aggressive now. Like there's a lot of like playful punching of each other, and they're like, oh yeah, like he got bit but he'll be fine. So the wolves are like bro-y, aggressive, fighty people. And what I think is interesting is Jacob like seems to hate at a certain point in this discussion that he's a werewolf, even though it's like genetic. Like they are werewolves genetically, like their families are the original, one of the original packs, yeah, part of the original pack. So like they biologically would have been werewolves, and it has to do with the vampires being on their land. So it stems back to the Cullens being in the area. I just, again, think it's interesting that they didn't all start turning earlier, and now they're like, oddly, because the Cullens are gone, now the rest of them are changing. It could be that Laurent is there, I think, but no, the treaty is with the Cullens. So slowed timeline. Jacob tries to explain it because she's like, wait, everyone else is already turning, why hadn't you? And he was like, oh, I was happy, but like he wasn't hanging out with Bella when some of the other ones were turning. So like that's a little iffy for me on timeline, but whatever. I'm not gonna push too hard on the they start turning into werewolves thing, because whatever, they start turning into werewolves, it's apparently tied to the Cullens, so he extra hates the Cullens. But like Jacob's dialogue about it is very interesting to me, because he doesn't like the guys who are all hanging together, and then your mentality completely shifts because of the alpha. But like Jacob is now slightly more aggressive, and he has a shorter fuse because of the wolf, and he says he's trying to control it. So I do think it's interesting that him becoming a wolf changes his personality. But what is slightly interesting to me is his more aggressive nature seems similar to Edward's existing like super protectiveness of Bella. Like their dialogue when speaking to Bella sometimes sounds similar. Like they feel similar, like more similar now. And I'm wondering if that's why Bella is suddenly like, oh, I could be with him, but it just wouldn't be like if I were with Edward. Because he talks more like him now, and he has like the more aggressive persona. So like, I don't know, this is reading into it a lot. I don't know if we're supposed to see Bella as someone who is attracted to, it has to be, this is just my thought, but it feels like Bella is supposed to be attracted only to more aggressive, men, like manly, burly men, even though they're not like manly, burly men, really. Like sort of like that epitome of hypermasculinity. Because it's just interesting that she does not even like want to think about pursuing a romantic life with Jacob. And then she's like, oh, well, like maybe we could make it work. Like it wouldn't really be Romeo and Juliet. It'd be like if Juliet married Paris. And I'm like, okay. I would just like to point out, and this because I skipped to the end, see how many pages there were. I didn't read the ending, but I did read, let me find it. I'm sure people have read this. The acknowledgements, and Stephenie Meyer has a brother named Jacob who she actually thanks twice. And like, I'm sorry, I have a brother and I would never name a possible sort of love interest in a book I was writing after my own brother. Jacob is a common name, I get that. My brother's name is not Jacob, but like, don't do it. Like that seems so weird that you would use your brother's name like that. I just like saw it and I was like, oh God. Like, why would you use your brother's name? Like, Jacob's a nice name, but still, like, he's your brother. Like, don't make your brother the, like, backup love interest for Bella. Like, that seems weird to me. But that might just be me. It just weirded me out of touch. But yeah, so that is my update for you for now. I know we're busy later tonight, so I might not be able to read much more. I'll probably try and read a little while I'm, like, cooking dinner. Or a lot. It just depends how long dinner takes. Kristen and I have to build a couch. So we got rid of our old couch because I don't know if I mentioned this, but our boys, who are dogs, were having territory disputes, much like the Cullens and the werewolves, over the couch. So we got rid of it because I couldn't keep cleaning it. Like, it was not helping. So that couch is gone. Also, beyond that fact, we have a very small cat named Goose, and she got under the couch, our former couch, and it's a recliner, and we almost couldn't get her out of the couch. So that couch is gone forever for the safety and well-being of everyone in our house. But we ordered a couch that's like modular-y online because nothing like that was in our area, and 2 of the boxes have arrived of 3, but I guess the 2 boxes we got because Krista could finally get a hold of someone, and they had to explain it to us because it was really weird. The 2 boxes we have actually would make an entire couch on their own, but there is another part coming that we attach to the side to give it like a chaise lounge. So we're gonna build what we have, and then when the rest of it arrives this week, we're gonna add that bit on so we have a couch. Because right now we just have 2 ottomans sitting in our living room. They can't fit more than like 2 dogs. 3 if they try really hard. And we've just been sitting at our nook anytime we're downstairs, which is not super comfortable. So we're gonna do that. So hopefully that's not super hard. But that's why I probably won't get much reading done because couch. But yeah, but I would like to finish this so I can get on to Eclipse. And so we can watch the new Moon movie. But we can't watch it tomorrow anyway. So it doesn't matter. I can take my time. I probably won't, but I still can if I want. Anyway, I'm gonna go. That was a very long update, but I read a lot of pages. So I will talk to you probably tomorrow, but I want to show you the couch. So you'll probably see the couch. But yeah, so I'll talk to you later. Bye. Slightly crooked. Hi. So remember how I said I didn't think I was gonna finish this book today because we have to build a couch and lots of stuff. Oh, so yeah, I finished it. New Moon, done. So yeah, that was not planned. Krista just had court today, and then she was running an errand really fast after. And so I had time after I took the dogs out to read after I'd done my like little clippy bit. So yeah, I finished it. So, oh my goodness, the end of this sets up so many things. I will say this one has a lot more action, which I appreciate. What is the television doing? The TV is supposed to be playing like smooth jazz for the dogs, and all of a sudden I just heard human voices, which means this one has a commercial in it, which I don't appreciate because I try and pick the ones that say no commercial, so there's no roll ad, so that something weird isn't happening, and now I'm just annoyed. What? Hold on. Okay, different angle. I had a cup that was in the way, and I thought I could make it work and it was not working. So it literally ended the ad as I went to the living room to go hit skip ad, which is so frustrating. Anyway, but yes, so I finished the book. Now I can't remember what I told you was the last thing I read, inconveniently. Okay, so I think I actually told you most things that you need to know, but okay, so Bella wound up cliff diving, which is the key thing that occurs. Because she jumped off a cliff, Alice had a vision that she jumped off a cliff, and she can't apparently see wolves. Like, they're blocked from her mind. So she thought Bella had drowned because she didn't see anyone save her. And so she rushed to Forks, but didn't want to tell anyone because she thought Bella had died. And then it turned out Bella was not dead. She just like drowned and Jacob revived her. And then Charlie was at a funeral for fish fry guy. Oh my gosh, what is his name? Charlie. So he was at a funeral and Edward wound up calling because Rosalie told him that Bella was dead. So when he called, Jacob answered the phone and thought it was Carlisle, and he said, no, Charlie's not here, because he asked for Charlie, not Bella. And he said he's at a funeral, and so he assumed it was Bella's funeral, which, oof. So after realizing that, Edward headed immediately to the Volturi because he had told Bella that if she died, he would try and follow her shortly after, and there are very few ways to kill a vampire. So he was going to ask the Volturi to grant him kind of a boon, like, do this for me. And they said no because of his mind reading abilities. And they want him, like, to join the Volturi. They want a lot of Carlisle's kids to join the Volturi. And so he was going to stand out in the sun, which is so interesting to me because you can't die by standing in the sun. But in so many vampire books, it's like, he's going to stand in the sun, we have to stop him. It's like, he's going out to kill himself. But in this situation, it was that he was going to go sparkle everywhere and make a big nuisance for the Volturi in Volterra. It's where the Volturi are. And when I was reading all this, so Alice rushes Bella to Edward, which is in Italy. And okay, so I know that Stephenie Meyer is not raised Catholic, but her depiction of Volterra is, it sounds exactly like Vatican City. Like, it's in Italy, sort of, but it's its own state. So like this whole time I was like, it's Vatican City. This is set in Vatican City. It's not, but it is like a fictionalized Vatican City to me. The way it's set up, there's like a festival happening. But Alice is like, you have to stop him. And Bella's like, but you're faster than me. Like, couldn't you like just think like she's alive? And she's like, no, that wouldn't work because he'll think that I'm lying to him in my mind. And she's like, it just won't work. So Bella like rushes through the square and does not trip, conveniently. She keeps him out of the sun, but he initially thinks he's dead. And he's like, oh, Carlisle's right, because Carlisle thinks that they have souls, but Edward does not. And so he now, in that moment, thought Carlisle was right, and he went to heaven or wherever souls go when you die. But then the Volturi guard come. Also, I'm pretty sure they're all papal guards. So like this all feels very papal, which would make the one guy the Pope, which would fit. Anyway, so they want Edward, Bella, and Alice to come with them. Jane comes, this young girl, definitely additional Claudia vibes. I will say Alice in this one drives and does more mature things, so the Alice vibe for me went away. Also, we'd seen the movie, so I had a better image for Alice. But there is a young child now, so Jane now in my mind is Claudia from the Interview with the Vampire movie. So anyway, they take them, and then, oh, what is his name? I'm not gonna remember. The head guy of the Volturi wants to like see if he can read Bella's mind by touch, because that's what he does. He like touches people and then he can see everything their mind has ever thought, and he can't. He does it to Alice and sees that Bella will be turned, and so they make a deal that they'll let her live so long as someone turns her because she knows too much. And because Alice sort of volunteers to show that she sees Bella turned, that will work. Now, this is all going to get more complicated because Bella gets back from Italy. She's now grounded because she ran off to Italy, but she pretends she was in LA because no one has any idea about the Volturi, except the Cullens. And so Bella is like, but if you don't turn me, they're gonna kill you all, is basically the ultimatum. And Edward's like, no, it's fine, we'll figure something out, like, I think it's fine. And she really wants to be turned because she wants to be with Edward forever and not worry about growing old and looking like his grandmother. Even though he says that wouldn't be a problem, but like Bella is very fixated on the, like, I want to look like we are roughly the same age. So that is her dedicated goal. So she has the Cullens vote on whether she'll be turned or not. It does come to a yes. Rosalie votes against because she wishes someone had stopped her turning from occurring. So she's like, I wish someone would have voted no for me. Not that I don't want you to join our family, which I thought was very nice. Rosalie in this doesn't have very many lines. Like, she's just kind of like, Bella just thinks she hates her, and I don't think that's the case. Other thing, Carlisle does agree that he will do it. Alice had offered, but Alice is very afraid that she will kill Bella. So Carlisle says he will do it, but then Bella reveals to Edward that she wishes he could do it. So they like go back and forth on this like ultimatum. He says wait 5 years, and she keeps bargaining him down, and eventually he says fine, we can do it whenever you want, but you have to marry me. And she's like, I don't want to marry you. And he's like, what? And I get her parents were divorced, but she is talking about being with him forever, for eternity, as vampires, and I feel like that like supersedes marriage. Like, there's no death at that point because it's very hard to kill a vampire. So like, you're already going above and beyond technically what you say in marriage vows. So I get it. She has marriage related trauma from her parents, but still, like, you want him to turn you, so it seems very simple to be like, yes, let's get married. But like, it's a whole thing. I do know they eventually get married, but right now we're waiting for graduation, so I believe things will occur after graduation, which should be the next book. But the issue is that if she is not turned, the Voltari will kill them. But if she is turned, that violates the contract that the Cullens made with the wolves. So the wolves will kill the Cullens. So I'm just like, oh my lord. So there's drama. Of course, there has to be drama. But I did like that there was more action in this one. I feel very bad that Jacob is really not a love interest. Like, this is solely the story of Bella and Edward. And Jacob is just this like side character that at a certain point in this, because she is so like, maybe I can make normal life work, I could be with him. She even compares him to Paris, who Juliet does not get with. There's so many Romeo and Juliet references in that book. But I'm just like, she doesn't like she likes him. She wants him to be happy, but she has no desire to date the man, be with him romantically in any way. So like, I don't get it. Like, I'm sure they would be fine together, but she is so fixed on Edward. I don't think they ever could be together, because even if Edward did leave her or was killed, she couldn't be with Jacob. It just wouldn't happen. So like, I want to be, oh, that's the oven. I'm preheating the oven for dinner. Like, I would like Jacob to be an actual contender in this series. Maybe it's different in the movies. Maybe they change it a little to make it more like enticing to you as the reader. But I'm just like, she's not getting with him. Ever. Like, ever. So that makes it a little hard to like root for him. Because I think he would be good for her, but like, the issue is it's never happening. It just isn't. She's too fixated on Edward for it to happen. So I'm just like, oof, oh boy. Oh goodness. Oh my. But yeah. So yes. I think, yes, that is everything. So those are my thoughts. We went to the Vatican and tried to have the Pope kill Edward. There's another freaking ad. I guess it's good that I'm done. I'm so annoyed at YouTube right now. Not this version of YouTube. The version playing on my television that's not supposed to be doing ads in the middle of a video that just is supposed to be playing music for my dogs. Ugh. Okay, I'm gonna go. I will start Eclipse. Yes, Eclipse probably tomorrow. And see, the ad is over. It's like a non-skippable mini ad. What the heck? Sorry, there's a lot of complaining about a thing I can't control. I just wasn't expecting it, and I'm sure it sounds weird in the video because I think you can hear the music on my camera. But anyway, I finished New Moon. I don't think we're watching the movie tonight because we have to build the couch. Maybe we'll watch it tomorrow. Krista has court though, so probably not. We'll see. But yes, I will start Eclipse whether we watch New Moon tomorrow or not. Because I'll probably start it before work and possibly during my lunch break because I can't remember if Krista can come home or not. But yes, so I'm gonna go. I'm gonna start dinner, and I'll give you all the updates on Eclipse when I start it. In this situation, I think I'll be fine if we're like off by a couple days when I watch New Moon the movie. I will give you, I don't want to watch them back to back, so there'll be a break between the movies, but just letting you know. Next thoughts will probably be on Eclipse the book, followed by thoughts on New Moon the movie. But I'm gonna go, I gotta make dinner, so I will talk to you later. Hello, my hair is everywhere. It's been in a bun for a lot of these clips, but I took it down to do like a... So I don't really have any clothes that are specifically Jacob, but I did like a Jacob inspired photo for Instagram with my copy of New Moon. So I got that and I want to post it today, which would mean it should be up on the 28th. So all of these photos are going up before the video because I'm kind of like teasing my progress over there. I am wearing this cute Halloween-y shirt. This is from Five Below and I just think it's cute. The little ghosts are holding such cute stuff. But I haven't put my hair up yet. It was super warm yesterday and now the temperature is very drastically dropping. So it is getting really cold. And so I went out and I'm so dumb. I didn't even think about this. I was like, oh, I won't wear shoes because in New Moon, Jacob doesn't have shoes on for a period of time. And yeah, you can't even see my feet, which is probably good because it's the internet, but I could have put shoes on. But I have the outfit. I liked it. The photo that turned out the best was actually a surprise. The wind blew my hair and I caught it. The photos look very butch. Like I'm passing as a very butch werewolf lady. Though there are no werewolf ladies in these books, apparently, I guess. Which is interesting because you can be a female vampire, but you can't be a female werewolf. I don't know, unless that changes drastically, but I don't think so. I'm taking a sip of my coffee, which is in one of my favorite cups. I have 2 of these. They were from Big Lots and they're $5 and they hold at least 22 ounces of coffee. So I'm having some, yes. Yes, so it is much colder than it was. But yeah, so this update. Oh gosh. Oh, I have it. It's right here. So here's Eclipse. I read to chapter 10. So I'm on page 214 and this copy specifically is like 629 pages. So in this, they always do the little recap of like, so every book, I understand this is a thing. Each book sort of introduces a piece of media that they're going to be referencing in some capacity. So like this one has a poem to open. We had Romeo and Juliet in the last one. The Bible was in the first one. So that happens and then you get like a teaser for what's going to happen near the end of the book, which a lot of books do. It's the prologue and then we get the recap of stuff that happened in New Moon a little bit. I'm taking another sip of coffee. I'm really cold. But so in this, Bella is grounded. She did run away for 3 days and wound up in Italy. So that happened. On top of that, it's sort of like, it's basically like she's under like really intense grounding. She can't leave unless she's going to school or work. Though Charlie like wants her to hang out with Jacob, but Jacob won't talk to her and he like sends a note and kind of tells her like, don't talk to me. Because he doesn't think they can interact because of her connection to the vampires. And so far what has happened in this? Oh my gosh. Oh, I did get an answer to my werewolf question. So the Cullens being in Forks triggered the curse, but the men of, it's a little complicated. So you have to be genetically related to the original pack, but I believe, based on how it's set up, you had to have not reached the age of 16 yet, and then, or be at the age of 16, and then you transformed. So Sam transformed. He didn't know what was going on. One of the sons of an elder from the original pack was there. So like Billy, Jacob's dad, there are other people. When he touched Sam was burning up because the werewolves were on at like 109. And so he knew what had happened and they discussed it and then they realized that it was happening. So it is technically the Cullen's fault, but they had no idea that would happen. They did not know that was a thing that would occur. They really thought it was fine. which I think is interesting because Bella tells Edward and he's like, we didn't know, like, I don't understand how that's our fault. But also, like, I get the treaties with the Cullens. I need to make different coffee. There's nothing wrong with it. It's just I can tell that I did something dumb. I made a cup of coffee earlier and I've just realized I didn't put a new K-cup in. So this is the second run of the same K-cup. And so this coffee tastes like nothing. Which is annoying because I made a whole cup before I figured that out. Oops. I'll just make another one. It's fine. Or maybe I'll just drink this. It's mostly water. Hydrated, right? Going back to that. So, like, other vampires have been in the area, though. So would it have mattered if it was the Cullens? I mean, I guess the vampires wouldn't really be there if the Cullens weren't there. Though it is interesting because vampires are, like, all over the Pacific Northwest. So, like, what's to say they wouldn't have come to Forks? Like, I don't... Whatever. Specifically, according to Jacob, it's because of the Cullens. Yeah, this tastes like water. It's fine. It's warm, weird water. I'm really thirsty and cold. And I could put my sweatshirt on, but I left it in another room. So I'm gonna wait. But anyway, things. So that's what triggered the curse. And now Edward is like really fixated on her not interacting with Jacob because Alice can't see what's happening to her when she's with Jacob. So like something bad could happen and he wouldn't know. So he's like super like anti her being with Jacob, though that eventually calms down. But like she and Edward actually have a fight. It's resolved remarkably quickly. Like basically he's like, fine, you could interact with him. And she's like, great. Like there's no real discussion. It just sort of like goes away. But during all of this, Edward leaves town because he needs to hunt. And so Bella breaks the rules and winds up going to see Jacob. And then she's basically under house arrest at the Cullens' house by Alice, who says it's a sleepover, which really irritates Bella. But during all of this, we learn Rosalie's turning story, which is awful. Also, I had this discussion with Krista because I mentioned that like I knew Rosalie's description of how she came to be was coming. And Krista's like, Carlisle doesn't give anyone a choice in their turning, and she doesn't like that, which I agree. It doesn't sound like Rosalie wanted to be a vampire. Like she just wanted to be gone. So I'm just kind of like, she appreciated that she was more beautiful now, but like that's all. Like she wanted to have a family, she wanted to grow old, and now she can never do that, and that was not her choice. So it is interesting to me that she does not get a choice. And then Bella asks her about Emmett, and Rosalie's like, no, I saved him because he reminded me of her former human friend's baby. And I'm like, what? So like she saved him because he reminded her of this child. And it just worked out that they were compatible with each other. And I'm like, okay, cool. Everyone really fixates on like young things. This also gets worse. So Rosalie, I feel awful for it. Like she doesn't want to be a vampire. It reminds me a little bit of Rebecca's plot in Vampire Diaries, because Rebecca doesn't really want to be a vampire. She wants to have children and grow old. So I liked that comparison for myself because I like Rebecca after the originals. She's good during the originals. She's a little annoying in Vampire Diaries. But the other thing that gets brought up in comparison to youth and fixating on someone's kid, one of Jacob's friends, oh shoot, the one whose name starts with a Q. I'm really sorry. I can't remember. I don't know how to say it. Like in my brain I'm saying Queel, but I don't think that's right. He has imprinted on someone, and we have discussed imprinting. I know imprinting comes back up again because I already know Jacob imprints on someone. These are spoilers, I know. But we've set up that his friend has imprinted on a 2-year-old. And we've already gotten the explanation of like, oh no, he's not in love with her. He just wants to take care of her. And then when she's older, she can choose to be with him because they're perfect mates. And I'm like, that is... And like Bella is creeped out by it, which seems good. Like that's so bizarre as a writing thing. Like the author invented that. That's not like a thing that occurs. Like, not in humans, to my knowledge, except like Stockholm syndrome, but that's not imprinting. I'm just like, why? Why wouldn't we have imprinting only work once the woman, because they're only men, has reached like maturity? Like that would be a very easy change. It would just be that you imprint on someone once they hit a certain age, because you also needed to be a certain age before your aging slows down because you're a werewolf. Because also the werewolves will stay beautiful and young forever until they get control of their turning, which could take years. So Bella is annoyed because now Jacob is also going to be an immortal teenager, and I'm like, oh my goodness, Bella, let it go. You are a youth. Let it go. Come on. You can age a little bit and it'll be fine. But whatever, I'm not Bella. Also, when I was a teenager, I didn't want to be a teenager. I was very ready to like be able to get an apartment and a job and do those things. And then I did in grad school and I guess it was fine. But like, bills are annoying. So the concept of adulthood is better than like actual adulthood, because bills and responsibilities. But I did not want to be a teenager when I was her age. I was ready to be an adult. And so I'm just like fascinated by her like desire to always look like a teenager. Because I'm like, you can't do stuff as a teenager. You can't. You really can't. She's not even like legally able to drink alcohol. I get that Edward can, but he's 17, he can't drink anyway. But I'm just like, don't you want to hit like a couple milestones? Like Edward keeps pointing that out and I'm like, in this situation, please listen to him. He's a very controlling gentleman periodically, and I agree with him on this. I would not even give the marriage caveat if I was him. I'd be like, no, we are waiting until you can at least purchase booze on your own, and then maybe I'll consider making you an immortal me being forever, but it's fine. Also, his ultimatum is that they can get married, which, sure, you're being turned into a vampire. I don't know why you're hung up on this. But yes, so I think that's thoughts so far. I might have missed some stuff, but that's what I have for you right now. I have lots more to read. We have not watched the new Moon movie yet, and we didn't build the couch. Krista was like really exhausted after court, so we just did dinner and then hung out. I don't know when we're building it because she has court tonight and tomorrow night, so that's fun. She's just gonna be really tired. We might try and do it tonight if we get home, if she gets home early enough. We might try and do it Thursday if she's home early enough. We might try and do it Friday because she doesn't have court. Oh, it hasn't been decided yet. But I will fill you in on book reading and couch building and movie watching, because I don't know when we're watching things. I would like to watch New Moon sooner rather than later. Slash before I finish Eclipse. So fingers crossed that's what happens. But I gotta go. Those are my updates though. And if you didn't follow me on Instagram already, you should go and look at those photos that I was talking about, because I did a Bella themed one and now this Jacob themed one that will go up. But I gotta go. I'm gonna probably go get more coffee because I'm really frustrated with myself for being a little dopey and forgetting to check that I put a new K-cup in. I don't know how I forgot. I normally do it, turn the machine on, walk away, and I turned the machine on and walked away, and I know I didn't put a new one in. Whew. I need more coffee to make coffee, I think, today. Oh goodness. All right, I'm gonna go, but I will update you more on Eclipsey things later. Hello, my hair is up. The workday is over, and I gotta be quick because I got stuff I gotta do. But oh my gosh, so I read a little bit more of Eclipse during my lunch break, and just like, I have two things that I really need to talk about before they pop out of my brain. So for some reason, in specifically this book, Bella having OCD has come up twice for things that are not OCD. Like, I get it. I feel like OCD was used more colloquially almost in the early 2000s. Like, people would say it on like TV, like if you liked tidiness, if you liked things being clean, you were OCD. So I get where it's coming from, but it is bothering me so much. Like, she, in part of this, because I glossed over it before, she like cleans the house, she puts all the magnets in a straight line because she's like wasting time, and she thinks putting them in a straight line might mean she has OCD, and I'm like, no, you're just bored. Like, lots of people play with, like, back when you like didn't have your cell phone all the time, or like you were just like hanging out in a room and didn't have anything to do. Like, I would mess around with the fridge magnets if I was like waiting for like coffee to brew, or like I was boiling water to do something. Like, you just mess around with stuff around you. Like, not OCD. Also, Jacob cuts his hand while they're doing dishes because he comes over, and she like is so, she's like trying to get the blood smell to go away, so she's bleaching everything. And then Jacob, I believe, says she might be OCD, and I'm like, no, she hates the smell of blood. I hate the smell of bleach, so like this would be awful. I don't hate it, but it's an unpleasant smell for me. Like, her whole house is now full of bleach. Like, she washed clothing in, like, stuff in bleach. She's poured bleach all over her sink, her counters. Also, you didn't need to use bleach. You could have just used any cleaning solution. Like, it was already soapy water that the blood was in, but whatever. But she's not OCD. It really bothered me. The other thing is I'm like in the middle of a chapter because I had to stop because I have work. But I'm taking a sip of my not gross coffee. I did make more coffee. This is additional coffee, but I did remake that cup of really gross coffee. That wasn't really coffee, it was just bean water. Sorry, anyway, I'm still gonna cough. I thought that would help. Again, asthma. Okay, so they're telling the story of the, oh gosh, of the tribe. I should remember how to say it, but I feel like I'm gonna screw up. Quite, because I almost want to say Quaalude, which is a medication. And it's just because my brain can read the word, but like I'm having trouble saying it out loud, which used to happen to me when I was like a kid. It still sometimes happens to me. Like, I can sound out a word and know what it is, but sometimes like when I try and say it, my brain is like, I don't know if that's how you say it, that's how you read it. Anyway, so in this story, I'm not going to get into the details of it because, again, I'm very sure it's entirely made up by her, but ages and ages ago, we did a number of like religion focused things, or like the history of the United States, which also included a discussion of Mormonism. When I was in school, I'm not entirely sure why this occurred. I went to public school and Mormonism is a religion, but we also talked about it in is it like the Reformation period? No, that's wrong. Maybe not. It's been a long time. I am much older than Bella. High school knowledge is like minimal up in here. But we did talk about the Mormons, and when I was a kid, we used to go on road trips for like vacation sometimes, and we went to a Mormon temple, and like a Mormon village thing. And I also watched, not all of this is like peak Mormon knowledge, Under the Banner of Heaven, which does talk to you about Mormonism, in a certain way. But while this story was being relayed, they mentioned the original, like, they've been sort of kicked out of their lands. The original leader in some capacity is killed, but he's not really killed. And someone else takes over, and then that new person has marries additional women, like has additional wives. And I was like, this sounds so familiar in like a certain capacity, not directly, but I was just like, what? And so I did look it up because I was like, this just like something about it was like sticking in my brain as like, you vaguely heard this before. And it's the start of the Mormon church. So, and that makes sense because Stephanie Meyer is Mormon. So it makes total sense that she would draw from something she knows to write the story. But that story has nothing to do with the native peoples of this country. So in that, Brigham Young begins the church, but is ultimately killed. And then, oh gosh, Brigham Young, Joseph Smith takes over. And Joseph Smith, I even Googled this to make sure that I was correct. He's the one who introduces the idea of polygamy, at least from what I could check on the internet. So I'm not a Mormon historian. This is just vague knowledge I think I remember / tried to verify before talking about it. He introduces polygamy, and then like things are still not good. Like the Mormon people are frequently attacked or kicked out because of polygamy, from where they settle. And I was just like, this draws from that story in a certain capacity and then alters it. Like they even have that like the wolf spirit thing is started by the original founder of the church / tribe. But like it just felt so reminiscent of that, and I had to mention it before it like flew out of my brain. Because I was just like, this is so interesting to me. But yes, so that entire story is like a hodgepodge of fake native / indigenous people mysticism and the Mormon church, which is curious. And I'm just like, makes sense. but I was just like, whoa. So I wanted to share that I was just intrigued slash like, why does this sound so familiar when this is fake? And I'm saying fake in the fact that she made up, like, this whole, like, setup she has for the wolves is not real. Like, that's not a real thing. Werewolves are not real. I mean, unless they are, I'm very sorry if I've just said you're not real. Seems painful. But I just thought I would share. Now I really have to go, but I just want to mention those 2 things. Bella is not OCD. She doesn't like blood. Stop calling her OCD. And the Mormon Church is technically the basis of that story, which is wild. So I'm gonna go. Got stuff to do, so I will talk to you later. I will have read more of this because I'm going to be reading a bunch tonight while Krista is at court. So yeah, I'll probably have thoughts, but you might not get them till tomorrow. You might get couch content, because I know you're all looking forward to couch building content, because we might do that tonight if court doesn't go too long. But I gotta go. Hello, I bet you're surprised to see me. I am in the middle of talking about Eclipse right now for you. So I was editing this video and realized that if I keep all 4 books and all 5 movies in one video, it is just gonna be so long that it'll be really difficult for some people to watch. So what I'm doing is I am cutting the video here into part 1. Now the plan is to have the rest of Eclipse and then Breaking Dawn and then New Moon, Eclipse, and Breaking Dawn the movies in the final clip. Krista will also in the second video. So Krista will also be joining me in the second video a lot more. She wasn't really in the first one just because I was reading the books kind of fast, and so I was sort of filming just when she wasn't home yet because she was at court, or I was filming during lunch breaks, or I was just filming when she wasn't home unintentionally, or I was like cooking and she was watching the dogs. So I am calling it for this part. Also, I mean, most Hollywood blockbusters would cut this vlog here anyway because they would want to have 2 box office dates. So you are getting what I have so far edited right now. You've already watched it. But I will talk about the rest of the saga in the second part, which will go up as soon as I get done with everything. So I hope you've enjoyed what you've watched so far, and please come back to watch part 2 as soon as it goes up. And I will talk about everything else from the Twilight Saga books and movies. So I hope you're enjoying this. I promise the rest of it is coming. It's just, there is a lot to cover in this video. So, like, in this video series now, I guess. So I hope you've enjoyed it. Let me know in the comments. Hopefully you're coming back for part 2. And I promise there will be plenty of stuff talked about. Even though I really actually haven't filmed any of it. I have filmed secretly, and you haven't seen it yet. The rest of the Eclipse book stuff is already prepped for the second video. So be ready for that. I'm very excited to share it. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed this, and I will see you in part 2. Bye, internet people.